So a couple of verses from the Bhagavad Gita on a couple of things a couple of types of problems that you could have with the practice of Guru Yoga. The first one is from the 3rd chapter. This is Arjuna speaking. He's speaking to Krishna. Krishna's his teacher, right? You confuse my mind with so many seemingly inconsistent teachings. Can't you just tell me one invariable thing through which I may attain the highest good? See, and this, if you are working with a good spiritual teacher, this one will definitely come up. Definitely. Because a good spiritual teacher isn't just keeping you in your comfort zone all the time. See? And what they said last week may be very, very different from what they say this week. And then we all have to say, wait a minute. You know, just when I thought I got it last week, now you're changing on me. Don't go changing. Right? Why are you changing? You're changing on me all the time. Changing it up. And of course the teacher's going to change it up. Of course. Because they're pushing you. They're pushing you to places that you haven't been yet. You see, that's called the learning. It's called part of the learning process. And a student, you know, we all resist this. We all resist it. We get good at something, and then we think, well, now I'm finished, I guess. You see, now I'll just stay here. And don't ask me to do things that I don't know how to do. I know how to do this. Wouldn't that be better if I just kept doing this thing that I already learned? And so, well, no, actually, you've got to move on, you see. So that will be one kind of problem that arises. And if you work with a teacher for any given amount of time, any serious long amount of time, 6 months or more, this one almost certainly will come up. Almost certainly. Because they're pushing you. They're taking you to places, they're taking you out of your comfort zone regularly. Pushing you out of your comfort zone. And that's hard sometimes. It feels hard. It feels like, no, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that, you see. I did that thing you asked me to last week, but now you're asking me this new thing. I don't want to do that. So then you stick with it. You hang on for the ride. And you know, people who know, you know, if you look around and observe the great achievers, the ones who make real spiritual progress are the ones who stick with it. If the people who quit, they don't make much spiritual progress. It's people who, you know, who hang on for the ride, and the ride can be very, very rough. But it's, you know, it's people who just like persevere. And in our group, I'll just tell you, some of you, know about Geshe Michael and so forth. You can count on about 2 hands the kind of people that stick with him for 20 years now. Okay, it's been now 20 years or so, and on 2 hands basically. You know, he attracts hundreds of people. Hundreds of people come to his teaching and stuff like that. But about 10 people manage for 20 years. You see, that's how hard it is. You see, really hard. And what we call the karma for sticking with a teacher can be very, very tenuous, very difficult. It's very, very easy to say, oh, this isn't working out. This is, you know. Now he's gone too far. Now she's saying this with these others. Now she's doing yoga, for Christ's sake. No, you know, when we all started, you know, studying with Geshe Michael, it's all like, well, we're all Buddhists, and you know, Buddhists don't do yoga. That's Hindu thing. And then, like, you know, in the middle of the 3 retreat, the word came out. It's like, everyone do yoga now. Lama's doing yoga. Everyone do yoga. So, yoga? Yeah. What is Buddhism? So, not really. And they just twist it up like that. And then like a couple of years go by and you understand why. Then you understand, after a couple of years, you understand why you were supposed to do yoga. But at first you probably don't understand. You know, it's like hard. It's like, well, I remember there was big blowback on this. In the 3-year retreat, there was big blowback on this. Like, you know, why are we doing it? What is the yoga? I thought we were Buddhists. Right? And then a couple of years go by and then the picture gets filled in. You understand why. But, you know, so there's a moral to that story, kids. And that is like, you know, lamas know stuff you don't know. The religious teacher knows stuff that you don't know. And there's a kind of a lag, usually a lag period, usually a period of lag, behind which, you know, you're behind the 8 ball when it comes to the guru. The guru is ahead and pulling you along, you know, kicking and screaming mostly. Like, you know, skidding like with your, you know, pulling you along, skidding behind you. And then you catch up to where they were, and you go, oh yeah, I understand now. But then they're always like a little ahead of you. So they're still skidding. See? Always still skidding. So just be along. Hold on for the ride as the thing changes. You see, it's change. We resist change. We really resist change. But first of all, change is. Okay, it's not like you can change change. Change is. It's always changing. Everything's always changing. And second of all, it is part of your path to change, of course, right? It's not part of your path to get to a certain level and then say that's good enough until you're at the end. You see, until you're at the end. So that's one kind of problem that can arise, is the changingness of the teaching, you see, of being pushed. Here's another one. This is from the 9th chapter. Stupid people, not knowing of my higher existence as the great Lord of all beings, and seeing only the human body I have assumed, treat me contemptuously. This is when other people diss your teacher. Okay, and that will happen. That will happen. Why? Because you've dissed other people's teachers. That's ultimately why it'll happen. Okay, and then the delivery system for that will be, people dissing your teacher, and that's a challenge. Then it's a challenge. It's like it's hard. It's hard to stay firm and stay true and loyal to a teacher when other people don't find that teacher that good or find them positively evil, bad, and say really nasty things about them. And they will. They will do that. Another reason why is because there's not one teacher for everyone. So, your teacher won't be the teacher that everyone sees as, great and this and that. You see, they'll just see them as ordinary. And they'll go like, well, what the hell are you doing with that teacher? You should find a better teacher. And that definitely will happen. It will happen also with the holy being at home. So both of these aren't neither one of these problems that can arise are specific to the official religious teacher. They're also potential for the home lama thing. Okay, so you will maybe have people come up to you. Why are you hanging around with him? You see, why don't you find some better guy? He's a loser, right? And you say, no, actually, he's a divine being. So you kid? Oh, come on, divine being. He drinks 6-packs. How can he be? I guess a divine being could never come and drink 6-packs. I suggest to you a divine being could come in your life and sit on the couch drinking 6-packs and watching football all day long. That could be the emanation that you get, and then you work with it. And that's all. That may be it. That might be the emanation that you get. I'll tell you a story about Geshe Michael's teacher, Ken Rinpoche. Ken Rinpoche used to, a great, old school Tibetan guru who, like, lots of people thought was special. Lots of people thought, oh, this guy's, like amazing, high being and so forth. Loved to watch baseball games. Watch baseball games like all the time, every night. Well, big Mets fan. And, Geshe Michael would come home from work and they'd sit around watching baseball games, eating popcorn. So he'd be with his lama. And Geshe Michael tells a story of them, like, watching a game together one time, and it's like the bottom of the 9th inning, tied game, last batter up, 3-2 count, and Rinpoche gets up and turns the TV off. It comes up to the highest crescendo of the game. What was he watching? See? What was he seeing? When he was watching, when the Mets game was on. So what was he watching? So when your holy being at home is sitting around drinking 6-packs and watching the football game, you have to think, well, what the hell are they? Maybe they're watching the Angel Channel. All I see is football, but maybe they're watching something different. You see, you don't know, and so you just assume that they're doing something special all the time. You just assume it. And your job is to figure out, well, what the hell? What is that? What's the teaching here for me? See, what am I supposed to be learning from this? You see, this is the way to be learning all the time. You see, it's a way to be constantly receiving Dharma teachings all day long, is to just go around all day long with the home lama and go, well, what teaching is this now? See, what new scripture is they teaching here that they just invented? Right? So those are the two kind of problems. And the other one, right? Confusing your mind with many inconsistent teachings. They'll change too, of course, right? In the Buddhist tradition, we say vikirtana. They're in and out. So, like sometimes it won't be that hard, maybe, you know. Sometimes it won't be hard to see them as special, and you go, "Wow, yeah, you know, you're such an angel." Especially when they're nice to you. Especially then, it's like, yes, definitely. I think definitely supreme angelic force coming. And then vikirtana means like it switches, and then they'll like insult you or won't do the dishes or right? And then it's like, no, I don't think so. So I'm not an angel anymore. And that's the same kind of thing, like inconsistent, right? It seems like inconsistent. So you have to kind of like try as a practice to see both sides of the change as equally teaching, as equally a divine teaching. Whether it's like obvious and kind of easy, or whether it's not so obvious and hard. But in any case, that's the practice. And as I was saying, like, the other day, if you want to have a good relationship, there's nothing better that you could do than this. This is like, I mean, in a way, it's kind of obvious, but I'll mention, I'll underline it again. If you're interested in having a good relationship, this is the single best thing you could do for establishing and maintaining a good, happy, long-term relationship. And pretty much any other alternative is not going to work out, actually. It's tenuous at best. Because you're thinking that somehow they're out there either happiness producing or unhappiness producing from their side. And that's just, it's wrong view. It's not the way that they exist. And you're kind of setting them up to fail. If you think that they're out there and it's their job to make you happy, you're setting them up to fail. And they will fail. Because they don't have the power to make you happy. It's not in their power. Happiness doesn't come from them. It doesn't come from anything external to you see. So, if you want a good relationship, you might try some version of what you're learning this weekend. And if you want to do the whole enchilada, this is a very, very quick and powerful way to get to high spiritual states very quickly. To start seeing, without trying, to start seeing magic in your life. And you start that process by just pretending. By just imagining, well, what if? Since I can't confirm that whether they're a schmuck or an enlightened being, what if they were an enlightened being? And just start. And the more you can do this practice, the more obvious it will be that they are an enlightened being. Okay? Reality will change. Reality will shift, and it'll be obvious to you that they've been an enlightened being all along. All right.